joined by many Dharawal people today who will be performing our acknowledgement of country. I also want to acknowledge the Sangha and the three beautiful venerables we have today from Santi Forest Monastery. So Venerable Naroda, Venerable Karunika, and Venerable Analea. Thank you very much for coming today and spending the day with us. May all of you be happy and well and realize Nibbana. So Santi Forest Monastery, as some of you have already heard, is a beautiful forest monastery in the highlands in Bandanoon. It is one of the 2 forest monasteries we have here in Australia, dedicated exclusively to the nuns of the Theravada Buddhist tradition. We are so fortunate to have Santi Forest Monastery in the Southern Highlands, as well as the new Santi Lumia Vihara, which only opened recently in July 2023. And the reason that Vihara was opened was really to support our nuns as they age for their medical and healthcare concerns. So we are very lucky that we have Lumia Vihara. We are also here with the generous bhikkhunis all across Dharawal country, Daru, Gadigal and Gandhara Islands. So Vesak is a really important time in the Buddhist calendar, as this marks the birth, the enlightenment and the passing away, parinibbana of the Buddha. So Vesak is a special, beautiful time. It's a beautiful celebration arising from the wisdom in the world. It's symbolized by the lighting of lamps and lanterns. And I want to point out all the beautiful lanterns that we have here today in the room, made very generously and time-takingly by our volunteers. Thank you very much for those making the lanterns. So now it is my great pleasure to welcome our esteemed guests, Auntie Fran, her son, Gwen, and her granddaughter, Tarawal, to perform the acknowledgement of country.
Guru, thank you. We're here to offer a welcome to country, and I'll start off just with an introduction in language, and then I'll pass over the exceptionally important part of the welcome wishes, which should say blessing of the country itself, to my mum, Fran Hodgson, commonly known as Auntie Fran, and my beautiful daughter, Lara. Taro Nabun Yuingowa, Elo War, Namaru, Suruda. Nendidiami Mini, the Ramban Naroado, Spiriku, Onadamadiku, Daro, Rali Darawa, Naragaingowa, Rani Bakala Bidika, Jidabun, Yadata, Dwayne, Owa, Tadurunang, Talara, Owa, Minan, Francis. Roughly translated in the inland Dharawal dialect, the traditions of the Dharawal people. To see tomorrow, we must first know yesterday. And as a result, I ask that you all understand that our home country is the Bidikul and Nadamadikul, bitter and sweet waters of these lands, and that all 3 of us were born and raised as Dharawal people. I am Gawain, my daughter Talara, my mother Francis, and they shall now pass on to you the Dharawal welcome wishes.
Which one do you want to do? English. And I'm doing in Dharawal. Okay. Ayora Gura Daronga Dharawal Dayanu.
We, the Dharawal descendants to this land, welcome you.
Gia Mora, Malora Kamadiwi, Niga, Ara Unang, Tuga Onia, Wadayania.
As our ways before invasion, we give you our hopes and wishes.
These are the traditional wishes that we give all our visitors. Niini Bulumanandirata.
May you always see the beauty of the earth.
Niini Dingan Dharawal Bata.
May you always taste the sweetest fruit.
Niini Gadalankam Biwamuna.
May you always feel the warmth of the flame.
Don't light fires in the bush. Niini nuwaga gambatagambana.
May you always smell the abundance of the flowers.
That's lovely. Thank you. But don't pick them. Niini nangame bacheri.
May your dreams always be happy ones.
Niini nara badaya naralagalarang janaba.
May you always hear the laughter of the children.
But don't hurt them. Niini na alayagamo.
May your friends be with you when you have the need.
Niini manawing ilabuho.
May your feet never hurt.
That's very important, so you come back with good memories. And the Jiragura Guranya Omiya.
We thank you for remembering our ancestors.
The Jiraguru, thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie Fran, Gwen and Talara, for such a beautiful welcome to country. Thank you so very much for welcoming us here on your land. So now I'm delighted to introduce our three venerables, Venerable Naroda, Venerable Karunika, and Venerable Analea, who are going to lead us to taking the 5 or the 8 precepts today. And then we'll have the opportunity to make offerings to the Triple Gem, followed by an auspicious chanting.
I would like to invite Venerable Analea to give you the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts for those of you who would like to take them.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tisarana gamanaṃ nititaṃ. Pāṇātipātā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchāchāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sura meraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani silena sugating yanti. Silena bhoga sampada silena nibbodhing yanti. Tasma silang visotthaye. Now may you keep these 5 precepts for your true happiness, your blameless prosperity, and for the attainment of Nibbana.
So now I also would like to do a short guided meditation. It seems right to do it now while the minds are fresh, inspired by the chanting as well as taking up the precepts, and earlier on thinking about gratitude to the Buddha. And when we have that beautiful feelings of wanting to thank our great teacher, the Buddha, for sharing all these beautiful teachings with us, which has been a benefit to us, we want to do something in return, right? So the best way that we can pay back our teacher, the Buddha, is by practicing and living according to his teachings. So today, being the Vesak day, which is the day, it was 2,500 years ago, on a full moon night in the month of May, the little boy called Siddhartha Gautama, who was to become the Buddha, was born. And he became a fully enlightened Buddha also on a full moon day in the month of Vesak, 35 years later after his birth. And then at the age of 80, he passed away also on a full moon night in the month of May. So this is why Buddhists around the world celebrate this day. And in this day, so we too can imagine and we would like to be in the presence of our great teacher, isn't it? It feels like I wish I could be in front of the Buddha right now and pay my gratitude and appreciation. Even though the Buddha has passed away, he has said that the best way to see him and get to know him is through his teachings. So see the Buddha through his teachings. Get to know him through his teachings, the Dhamma. So, right now I'm going to do a small meditation, guided meditation. This is not the very traditional way of doing Buddhanussati, but a beautiful way, another alternate way of doing Buddhanussati by bringing up just one quality of the Buddha. He was called Mahakaruniko, and that is great compassionate one. He was extremely compassionate to all beings. He had this incredible ability, psychic abilities to even know our minds, yeah? And he knew us really, really well for who we are. He knew all the good things we have done, but also the not so good things that we have done. We have all done silly things in our lives. We can't help it, right? It's how being a human being is like. But he accepts us for who we are, the way we are, right? This is so beautiful, to be in the presence of somebody who accepts you for who you are, the way you are, and you feel at ease. So you can sit a bit comfortably and then relax. And imagine that you are sitting in this beautiful morning, in this beautiful forest, in this beautiful garden, like beautiful native trees. It's a beautiful botanical gardens. And the Buddha is sitting under a tree, and we are also sitting in front of him, meditating together. And as we are sitting there with our eyes closed, we feel the beautiful affection coming right from the Buddha's heart, just like rays of golden light coming from his heart and entering our hearts for each one of us, bringing so much good blessings, good wishes, a lot of love, kindness, and peace. So you can use your imagination and allow these feelings of affection to grow inside of your heart for a few minutes. It is a beautiful feeling to receive love, receive affection and kindness. So allow yourself to receive this kindness, affection, love. Be very generous with yourself in allowing yourself to really soak in the beautiful affection and kindness from the Buddha. Allow each single cell in your body to absorb this affection and allow it to heal your body and heal your mind and bring up a lot of joy within you. And as you feel these feelings of affection building up inside your own heart, allow those to spread out into the world, to all beings, starting from everybody in this room, to your family, to your friends, and to all beings in all realms of existence. May they all be free from suffering. May they all be free from any dangers. May they be all at ease. May they be peaceful. And take a few moments as we are coming close to the end of this very short guided meditation to feel how you are now. How do you feel right now? How is your body? How is your mind? Just 10 minutes of sitting quietly and bringing up these beautiful, wholesome intentions and thoughts and wishes, both receiving and giving affection. How did that feel inside of you? Take a few moments to just feel that and notice that. So now you can take 3 long deep breaths, and at the end of the last one you can open your eyes and come out of meditation.
Thank you so much, Venerables, for leading us in the auspicious chanting, the offerings, and the taking of the precepts. You asked us to open our hearts and receive love. I want to say thank you so much for giving us so much love and peace. We receive it from all of you so often, and on behalf of everyone, thank you with all our hearts, with much gratitude in giving us so much peace and love. So now we're going to have a short Dhamma talk by Venerable Karunika. So I'm going to invite any children who may want to go outside and play in the playground with our dear Ling. She's got some amazing activities, is that correct, Ling? Organised for the kids. So if there are any children who would like to join Ling outside in the playground for some fun activities, this is the time to join her. Okay, so I'm so honoured to introduce formally Venerable Karunika. She is a senior resident monastic at Santi Forest Monastery, and she's been a monastic for well over 12 years. She received her full ordination as a bhikkhuni in 2014 at Dhamma Nuns Monastery in Western Australia, where she lived and trained for over a decade with Ajahn Hasapana. She's also a student of Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Brahmali, and she's much loved and respected by so many people. So without further ado, please welcome formally Venerable Karunika to give us a Dhamma talk.
Okay, thank you, Dhamma. So we can continue on with our reflection that we started as you came in this morning. And that is how fortunate we are to be here at a time in this world where this beautiful wisdom teachings, the Dhamma, is available to us. Yeah. So you may know this already for those of you who are very familiar with the teachings, but it is always good to bring those beautiful ideas into the forefront of our mind again and again, even many times in the day. It is okay. So just imagine again what our life would be without these beautiful teachings, and also how rare these teachings are in the world. Now, you would think, oh, the Dhamma has been around for all of my lifetime, and even, my grandparents 2,500 years ago, and it's probably going to last a long time. But according to the Buddha, when we think about our long journey in samsara, how long that is, and in this time, the time that you come across the teachings of the Buddha is like the time that takes for lightning to happen. Yeah. Very quick, very short time when you compare the big scheme of things. So if you were to do a little bit of reflection, now the Buddha went back 91 eons. He was able to see past lives for about 91 eons. Now, if you're not familiar how long one eon is, Buddha gave a simile, a beautiful simile for us to understand how long one eon is. So if you were to put mustard seeds in a cart and take one mustard seed out every 100 years, the cart of mustard seeds would end, but the eon hasn't ended. So very, very long time. That is just one eon. And imagine 91 eons. Do you know how many Buddhas were there in the world? Only 7. Only 7 Buddhas for 91 eons. And the current eon that we are in is a very fortunate one. It's called Mahabhaddha Kalpa. That is why we are very spoiled. Because in this very eon, there has already been 4 Buddhas, and a 5th one is yet to come as well. The Buddha said there will be Buddha Maitreya born before the end of the world. So don't worry about end of the world. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Mass extinctions, that might happen, but not the world. Right? So anyway, so what does that leave us? If there were 4 Buddhas already in this one eon, how many Buddhas were there for the past 90 eons? Only 3. Imagine, we've been traveling up and down between heaven and hell, going in all kinds of births for such a long time without encountering right view. This is really important to reflect, yeah? So the Buddha says it takes a Buddha to arise in the world so that the right view becomes available. He's the one who discovers right view. So what is this right view? The 4 Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. I'm not going to go into detail. This is just a reflection. Most of you would know this really well. So just to remember, before than that, the right view is not available to us. And parts of right view is this understanding of impermanence. Yeah. But what we normally have is the idea of everything lasts forever, isn't it? We feel like that we are going to live a long time. Our house is going to be there, our job is going to be there. We have this idea of permanency. And when things change, we cry. Yeah, we suffer. But also we have this feeling that we are in control of things. That, that sense of self, belonging, the things belong to us. But the Buddha says that things are non-self, it's conditionally arisen. Yeah? So that idea of non-self. And we always expect everything to be nice, beautiful, and pleasurable. But what do we normally experience most of the day? Neutral feelings or even feelings of unsatisfactoriness or suffering as well. So that there is suffering in the world. Yeah? And we also perceive beauty in what is not just necessarily beautiful. Just to see this point in a good way is that think about the most beautiful movie star that you are so attracted to. Now, you might think they have a beautiful smile. If they pull out one of their teeth and give it to your dinner plate, how about a lock of their beautiful hair? How about their eye? If they take it out and give it to you, do you want it? Yeah, isn't it? If you take body parts, part by part, nothing attractive, it's just body parts. But we have created a misperception, a perverted perception, so much to see beauty in what is just ordinary and even not so beautiful or even repulsive. Yeah, this body is quite disgusting. What happens if you don't take a shower for 3 days? Nobody will come anywhere close to you, right? So this is the thing, but we don't realize these things. Yeah, right view isn't there in the world. So we go looking and craving for things, and what we mostly reap is suffering. So imagine how long we have traveled without any help. But now we have the help available to us. Yeah, the Buddha's teachings are very much alive. People are practicing, people are reaching various stages of enlightenment. Yeah, it is possible to do it. So this Vesak, it's a good aspiration to make, to practice to your very best ability. Put in a bit more time, right, to reap the benefit, because, when will death happen? Do you know when you're going to die? We don't know, isn't it? We don't know how much life is left within each one of us. Yeah, it's not only old people who die. Very young people also die, right? So we just don't know. So time is short. And we don't know whether the teachings will be available to us when we are born again. So this is not to feel depressed and worried and panic, oh my goodness. Not like that, but try your very best, yeah, to keep the virtues, to be generous, meditate, Was the meditation this morning easy to do? Thinking about the Buddha, recollection of the Buddha. This is called Buddhanusati, a very valid meditation that can take you all the way to enlightenment too. There are misconceptions saying that you can't do it. No, of course you can. Yeah, you can take Buddhanusati all the way to reach jhanas, and after jhanas, yata bhuta jnana dasana happens. The insight knowledges will happen. Vipassana will happen as a matter of course. So you have enough teachings within you for that to happen. So even if you can do Buddhanusati quite easily, try that out. Yeah, if watching the breath is hard, never mind. Do Buddhanusati instead. And there are many other meditations. I encourage you on this Vesak day to make a determination, make an aspiration to practice, put in more time to practice the teachings of the Buddha. And also, since there is quite a bit of time, I also want to share one aspect. Every Vesak, we hear Vesak Dhamma talks which are related to the life of the Buddha. I'm sure you're sick and tired of hearing the same story again and again and again. But today I'm going to say something a little bit challenging to the normal story that you have heard. But I would like you to contemplate the possibility of this. Okay, so what have we heard? Like this is the time that the Buddha left, that Siddhartha Gautama left to become a Buddha. We normally hear, oh, how could he leave his wife and newborn son? Have you heard this? Do other people talk to you and tell you, what kind of Buddhist are you? Your master left his wife and child. Yeah, sometimes we get blamed as well, isn't it? And we also might wonder, how could somebody do this? The way we hear the normal story, it looks like he ran away in the middle of the night without telling anybody. This is how the story is heard. But if you know your suttas, in the suttas there are bits and pieces of the Buddha's story given by him. He actually went in bright daylight while his parents were crying. So of course they were crying because they were sad. But he didn't run away. Yeah, that gives you an indication. He had already spoken to them and told them what he's doing. But even they accept it. It's still painful, isn't it? Even he may have been crying. Because is it easy to be separated from your loved ones? Not at all. And if you know a little bit more about the Buddha's stories and history, the Buddha and his wife Yashodara, they have been husband and wife for many, many lifetimes, at least 500 lifetimes, I think. These are sometimes in the commentaries, but nevertheless, it is possible. Yeah, and it is said that they have been practicing also meditation and trying to find nirvana, as they think, or a good solution to end suffering for many lifetimes. There are beautiful stories. Yeah. And in this lifetime, you think that, oh, poor Yashodara, he left her. You want to hear another story in another past life? In the previous life, they were together, husband and wife, and they had children also. And one day, the husband comes home and says, honey, I have something to tell you. What is it, darling? He said, I really want to renounce. I really have enough of these things. I don't see any point in continuing life like that. I would like to find a solution to end all suffering. I would like to become a renunciant and leave. And the wife also said, honey, I also have something to tell you. What is it? And she says, well, I too want to become a renunciant. I also want to go and find a solution. Then they realize, well, we have children. We can't just leave them. We have little children. So they decided, okay, then we might both have to just hang around for a little bit until the kids are grown up, and then we will go. So later in the day, in the evening, the wife comes and says, darling, there's no water at home. I'm going to go to the well to fetch some water. And she never comes back. And he had to bring up the children all by himself. And once the children are older, he becomes a renunciant. And while he was wandering, he meets his previous wife. And they say, oh, it seems like that water took a long time to fetch. Right? Anyway, this is just to say, I mean, they have been practicing for a while. They have been renouncing, leaving each other in different ways, in different lifetimes. So there were people who already had quite a lot of wisdom. They were very kind people. And have you seen, maybe you are like this too, some couples, they're very close, they're very wise, they have good chats, they share their teachings, they share what they feel about life together, not just ordinary chit-chat and arguments, but they also spend some quality time talking about these things. So I'm sure when the Buddha came to understand the real problem, the problem of growing old, right, and getting sick, and dying, when he realized that when you are born with a human body, this is possible to happen. He had a shock. How can I be heedlessly singing, dancing, music, enjoying life? Because he had a very luxurious life, right? And he realized, how can I continue to do like that when these dangers are coming at me? I need to find a solution. But when that occurred to him, I'm sure he would have spoken with his wife, and the wife would have agreed, given that they were practicing like that. They both had these kinds of idea of renunciation and finding a solution for suffering in their mind. So they would have agreed to do this together. It's not like he left without her consent. But with or without consent, still being separated for two people who were so in love, who had lots of affection, care, and respect for each other, would be difficult. Now, do you think it is only Yashodara who was crying and sad? Well, if you want to check this out yourself, check Majjhima Nikaya Dvedhavitakka Sutta, where the Buddha talks in his last life as he was practicing to become a Buddha. He talks about times where lust invaded his mind. Ill will and negativity invaded his mind. Stupidity also invaded his mind. So he too would have from time to time missed his wife, missed his son, missed his family. The sadness, suffering would have come because he was a normal human being, right? While before he became a Buddha, he had all of those things. So it was difficult. But the point of me saying this story with a different slant, and probably this is the true one, yeah, even though this is not given, this is probably the right way to look at the time that he left home and did the practice. But also it is said that there was a messenger who went and they knew where Buddha was, like Siddhartha Gautama was practicing, what kind of practice he was doing. And they would come back and tell Yashodara what Siddhartha Gautama was doing, and Yashodara did the same in the palace. So when she heard that the Siddhartha Gautama was sleeping on the ground, she also gave up the bed. When she heard he was wearing just the yellow robe, she too gave up all the royal garments and wore a cloth. When she heard he only ate one meal, she too ate one meal. And she too meditated. Yeah, so she was waiting for him to discover the path and come back, right? This is how she spent her time and how he spent his time, and they were practicing. And what I want to bring out in today's talk is this idea of acceptance as a way, or idea of letting go as a way to deal with the difficulties in our life. Now, as I can see, a large number of people, not everybody, but large number of people in this audience, including myself and the two venerables, we have migrated to Australia at some point in our lives. Yeah. How was that? It's never easy to leave behind majority of our friends, family, and the life we had behind. But we came here also to have benefit, to do good for our future, for our children's future, isn't it? For various purposes, we came. But of course, there are people back in our home countries who still miss us, isn't it? They are also feeling sad. But how do you do it? It is a little bit like the situation between Yashodara and Siddhartha Gautama. Yeah, when they separated, separation from your loved one is always painful. But sometimes you have to make choices, difficult choices in your life. So some of these choices may bring suffering and difficulty in the short term, but for the long term benefit, isn't it? Are you with me when I say this? Yeah. So for them, they realize, yes, being separated from our loved ones is difficult in the short term. It's painful. But once we discover the path, once we live the spiritual life, it is for the long-term benefit of ourselves and many other beings. So reflecting in this way, I feel both Yashodara and Siddhartha would have felt good to be able to endure that difficulty through accepting, seeing with wisdom the great benefit of doing something difficult that is wholesome. Because sometimes some wholesome things are difficult, yeah. So remember this, yeah. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices. Sometimes we have to go through some difficulties in the short term, as long as it is going to bring you benefit in the long term. It is worthwhile doing, and then accepting that in that way. It's quite a beautiful thing, right? With understanding. So accepting with understanding. So as to Yashodara, she would have accepted with that understanding, so he could let him go. Yeah. And there was another occasion that it was difficult for the Yashodara, right? When the Buddha, when he became a Buddha, came back 7 years later, and what happened? He took his son away, right? Rahula, only 7 years of age. Now again, people worry, oh, poor mom. You know, he took away the 7-year-old son. Is it easy for a mom when their only son, whose 7, leaves? It's not easy, right? It's very difficult. But now, if we think about Yashodara as being a wise person who's been practicing, right, in that kind of version, not like us. That's the thing. Our problem is we think of Yashodara as unenlightened and full of defilements and longing and stuff. That is when we see her like that. But remember, she was somebody who was a renunciant many lifetimes, practicing and also aspiring to this path. So she realized at that time there was an ordination not available for women, but it was still available for men. So her son could straight away benefit from the teaching. She also would have thought, well, life is short. Even though my son is 7, we don't know, he might die even at the age of 8, any time. But right now, he can ordain, he can learn the teachings, he can benefit. So she may have encouraged. That's why she asked him to go and ask for his inheritance. People think go and ask for his inheritance as in becoming the king or all those things. But she would have meant the inheritance of Dhamma. Yeah. So again, if you think like that, there would have been pain, of course, even though that understanding is there for the mother to be separated from the 7-year-old is not easy. She would have had pain. But she would have dealt with that pain, with that acceptance, with that understanding why she is doing that for the benefit. Isn't that beautiful to think? Isn't that really, really important to know? Sometimes moms and dads say, oh, we love our children. You're so attached. You don't let them go and do what they want to do sometimes in life. Yeah, you want them to do what you want because they define you. If what they do isn't making you happy, then you don't want to allow them to do that. Is that actually really love? Think about it. I want to also share another story. This is, do you know Ajahn Brahmali? Yeah. I had this very rare, fortunate occasion to speak to his mother. And I asked him, how did you feel? Because he's from Norway. He's from a Western country. He was not a born Buddhist. His parents are not Buddhism. They don't know what Buddhism is at all at the time. Yeah. And I asked his mother, how did you feel when your eldest son, they had 2 sons and a daughter, wanted to become a monk, right? They're quite wealthy, very affluent society, doing really well. So of course the parents would be wanting your eldest son to take over and do things. You have expectations, right? And there he was asking to become a monk. And they wouldn't know any idea of what this is going to be. And this is what she told me. Yeah, She told me, yes. I mean, there's a longer story, but this is the shorter version. She told me, yeah, I had no idea what Buddhism was. I had no idea what his lifestyle going to be, where he's really going to be and doing what. But I trust my son to do something good. I trust my son to know what is wholesome and unwholesome. And if this is what was going to make him happy, I am happy for him. And he let her go. Now that's true love of a mother, isn't it? And he's going to go away to a faraway country to practice. He won't be there. And of course, he won't be there to go on the family holidays, go for dinner, watch movies, do any of those things from that time onwards. Is that easy? Because that's what we want to do with our loved ones, right? We want to be with our family together, do things together, and that's part of our enjoyment. And if they're not going to be part of that, it's really hard. But see, when we say love, what is it? Our own craving, right? Our own selfish desires to fulfill our own happiness from our loved ones. That's really not love. Yeah, the true love is giving people space, that ability, and trusting them and allowing them to do what makes them happy and support them. And for all those years, now Ajahn Brahmali has been among for almost 30 years. Their family has been very, very supportive. By now, I have heard him tell, by his 12th reigns, he had a conversation with his father. And during that conversation, the father said, I used to be your teacher, but now you are my teacher. Isn't that beautiful for a father, for a Western, very, highly educated, smart, intelligent, rich man, to say his son, who's a monk, who looks kind of weird and strange, and to take him up fully on board as somebody wise. And he would invite him to give Dhamma talks whenever he visit home. And his brother, now his father has passed away, his sister has passed away as well, but the brother and the mother are Buddhists. They're practicing. Even he is going this June back to Norway, and he said, my mom and my brother are coming on my retreat to meditate. See how beautiful it is when somebody, if your children wants to become a monastic, it's a great benefit. Yeah, it's beautiful. I just bring this up to bring up that idea of renunciation, but also that idea of separation, how to accept it, and also do it in the right way. When you do it in the right way, it's actually beautiful. Yeah. So sometimes it is okay. Have the courage, have that bravery to do things that are difficult in the short term for the long-term benefit. Yeah. So this is what I would really like to say as a Dhamma talk, because it's good to keep it to simple, one or two things, but things that are powerful. This is just giving you a little flavor of the power of the Buddha's teachings, his lifestyle, yeah, even by his own example, what he teach. Some of these things that I said, he didn't go around saying these things, right? But when you reflect, you see this is what he's done. So it is important not to just read the suttas. As you read the suttas, read in between the lines also the whole picture of what has happened and how powerful these things are. Yeah, it's really, really important way to read the suttas, understand the suttas beyond the words of these actions. What action speaks more than words, isn't it? So what they have done is really beautiful. So I wish you all also this ability to be able to use this idea of acceptance with wisdom as a way of letting go. Yeah, enduring sometimes what is difficult in the short term for the long term benefit. And before I end my talk, I also want to say a few words about what is coming up next, which Tamha would say in more detail, but this is directly a bit related to the Dhamma talk that I have mentioned. So in a little while, Sin Singh will be singing a song about an elephant, an orphan elephant, who is on her way to a refuge, finding a place for peace to live at ease. Now, I wanted to see the lyrics, but it came a bit late, so I didn't get to read it. So I encourage you to listen to the song really well. I am only going to guess what it is. I might be wrong, but never mind, forgive me. But I'm guessing it's like us, right? We are too, in ways, orphans, right? Sometimes we are without help, maybe. Yeah, we have also separated, come to this place, leaving behind things. We are constantly looking for something, peace, a safe place. Yeah. So as we are working towards Nibbana, yeah, Nibbana is called Kema. Yeah, Kema means refuge. That too is a refuge, a sanctuary. So going towards a sanctuary. So that is our journey, like this orphan elephant. But unfortunately, this elephant has passed away before reaching the sanctuary. So this also brings us this beautiful idea of death. Yeah, death can happen anytime before we come across to our true peace, to our sanctuary, to a refuge. But as long as you live a good life, yeah, as long as you practice the spiritual path to your best ability, you don't have to be scared, worried about death. You will continue on. And I hope this elephant too will continue on in their next life to their true refuge. Anyway, with that, I will hand over to our beautiful MC Tamha. Can you just say all sadhu 3 times?
Yes. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone, Aya, Karunika, for such an inspiring Dharma talk. So no time to waste. Let go and short-term pain for long-term gain. Is that correct? Just want to mention at this point in time, we are so grateful that this Vesak event is free of charge and organized by the generosity of so many people and their donations. If you would also like to contribute towards the expenses of venue hire and food, you're welcome to make a donation to Santi Monastery. The details are at the back of the flyer or in the donation box. So up next, we are so grateful to have 2 incredibly talented musicians, meditators, beautiful singers, Sin and Lawrence, who have been friends since university, I understand. And they've been singing together in their own band. Lawrence has been supporting Sin in all these endeavors. And as mentioned, Sin is a lover of elephants. Absolute lover of elephants. So Sin and Lawrence will chant the first 3 verses of the Ratana Sutta, and that's going to be followed by a beautiful song called Dreams of Sanctuary. So this song is about finding freedom and longing for sanctuary. It's written in memory of an elephant called Pelusa who passed away before finding sanctuary. So in this way, it's also about what we are all doing, wanting to find freedom and happiness and the freedom from suffering. So thank you so much for Sin and Lawrence for coming up and gracing us with your beautiful song.
Thank you so much, Venerable Karunika and everyone. I will just chant the last 3 verses of the Ratana Sutta, which we also did in the morning. So the English translation is, "We beings that are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, salute the accomplished Buddha who is honored by gods and men. May there be well-being. We beings that are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, salute the enlightening Dhamma, which is honored by gods and men. May there be well-being. We beings that are here assembled, whether terrestrial and celestial, salute the noble Sangha, who are honored by gods and men. May there be well-being. Yanida Bhutani Samagatani Umani Wayani Wa Antani Tathagatang Dewa Manusa Pujitang Buddhang Namasama Swati Hotu Yanida Bhutani Samagatani Umaniwa Yaniwa Antalike Tathagatang Dewa Manusa Pujitang Dhammang Namasama Swati Hotu Yanida Bhutani Samagatani Umaniwa Yaniwa Antalike Tathagatang Dewa Manusa Pujitang Sanghang Namasama Swati Hotu. And then now the song is called The Dream of a Sanctuary, about an elephant who passed before she was able to be rescued to the sanctuary, but she was longing for that freedom within her. Strange silhouettes I see on a ridge moving silently, a memory of company, a feeling of sympathy, like a hand rocking a sleeping child, like a moon tipping an ocean tide, dreams of a family stir somewhere inside of me. I'm a ghost at the dreams begun, a whisper of a sanctuary. How strange is the call of the wild. It's a goddess with the face of a child. In prisons, in the houses of men, we discover how true nature again. The past is a mystery. It's a scar, it's an injury. If I die before we reach that place, would you cry? Would I leave a trace? Could I suffer the agony to have dreams, a dream of a sanctuary? How strange is the call of the wild. It's a goddess with the face of a child. In prisons, in the houses of men, we discover our true nature again. Strange is the call of the wild. It's the goddess with the face of a child. In prisons, in the houses of men, we discover our true nature again. I only dream of sanctuary to become what I am. I only dream of sanctuary to become what I am. I only dream of sanctuary to become what I am.
Oh, wow. What an absolutely beautiful song. So the past may be a mystery, but your talents certainly are not. Thank you so much, Santi and Lawrence, for such a beautiful song.
So I want to really thank once more to Santi and Lawrence for this beautiful and inspiring performance. I had electricity going, thinking about all of those things in relation with the Dhamma as well. Really inspiring. I also want to let you know that Santi is very much dedicated to helping orphan elephants. If you would like to join him, talk to him and see how you can help. And I also want to mention that today's lunch, people have contributed with financially, and there's still room for anybody. But most importantly, I want to really acknowledge the restaurant that is Colors of India in Parramatta. And the owner has very, very kindly done a very exceptionally huge discount for us, because he knows that this is for a very special occasion. And it is a generous meal freely offered by Just Dana. And I really would like to thank them for their generosity in giving this and being on time. And you'll soon find out how tasty they are. I have tasted their food before. So thank you for Colors of India as well. Now I would like to take a few minutes to do our blessing chant, to share merits with all of us and all of you who have contributed to this event in big and small ways, whether with efforts, whether with finances, or just being here to make it possible. So for all of us here, so we'll share merits. Sabba roga vinimutto, sabba santa pavajito, sabba veramati kanto, nibuto chatuan bhava, sabitiyo vivajantu, sabba rogo vinasatu, Mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava abhivadana silissa nicha buddha pachaino chattaro dhamma vajanti ayuvanno sukham balang